A message from the management. Eating and drinking while viewing these videos is not advised. Please be aware you do so at your own risk. Hi guys, welcome back to Exposed, and if I'm welcoming you back and you like it here, I'd love it if you stayed and subbed. Did the comments again today, but as you can see it's limited, but as soon as YouTube have checked it and realised that there's nothing in it that needs to be limited, then it will go up. Secondly, this is what Lisa posted on her Instagram. It's a faux fur over a see-through swimsuit. Dear Lord, please tell me that we're not going to see her fucking tiptoeing around Wilmywood in this. No! So now I am going to do her latest, the Ask Me Anything Facelift, my daily routine and work schedule. The key to happiness. The key to happiness is to be a narc and do whatever the fuck you want to do all day, every day, and have nobody question it.
Today we're going to finish.
Shall we jump in? And it's like, what is the point of doing an Ask Me Anything if you pick the ones you want to answer? That's not an Ask Me Anything.
Today we're going to finish up my Ask Me Anything. So I did this a few weeks ago in my Friday haul video. I'm starting a new series of just talk videos, vlogs, and I asked you guys to ask me anything. And I kind of wanted to do these first questions to kind of get a feel for what you guys wanted to talk about, or girls. And Brooke and I did another one that you've probably seen.
I wanted to get a feel of what you guys were going to say and see how many people were insulting me before I actually said I'd make it a series. But when I don't have to answer anything, it doesn't really matter, does it, Lisa? No. They can ask you anything. There's no guarantee you're going to answer it.
Seen by now, and now we're going to finish up today, and then we'll go from there. I'm really excited about it. I love talking about stuff like this. So let's get started.
I love talking about stuff like this. Like what? What's your favourite lip combo? What do you do in a day? What do you eat in a day? How long have you been on carnivore?
With question number 1. Brooke is my daughter. She's here
24.
And she's going to help me read them off. We're in my office and she's at my computer. We thought that might be an easier way to do it.
This is from Kat the Beauty Hunter. She complimented you a whole bunch, but I'm just
Oh, thank you, Kat.
all. On that note, I'd love to hear more about your family, your grandparents, and any memories you have, what your family history is, things that happened in childhood and teenagehood, bullies, friends. What the
Oh my
world was
goodness.
like at that time, things that people connected over then, what was fun to do, what was hard, who you liked and why.
Oh my goodness.
And don't miss. Goodness, all of it. But yes.
Okay, so you basically just want to know about like my upbringing and my life, which you guys know, I've told you a million times that I was brought up here in Wilmington, North Carolina. My parents were born here, and all of my grandparents are here, all of my aunts and uncles, and we spent all summer, every summer on Wrightsville Beach. So I had a really good childhood in that I was always with family. And when you are always with family, you always feel this sense of security and love, and you learn so much from each set of grandparents, each aunt and uncle, not only by the stories that they tell you, the examples they set, but just things that you see in their house, just things that you see them make important, like in the last.
What did you learn? That's what we want to know. What exactly did you learn from your grandparents and aunts and uncles that you have carried on into your life? Rather than saying, I had a wonderful childhood, I had a wonderful family, I had a wonderful life, what have you carried on into your children's lives? That's what I want to know, because it would appear nothing.
Last video I told you both sets of grandparents, went to church, and I would go to church with them. Just different experiences at each house, even to the point where at one grandparents, they had Coke, but at the other grandparents, they had Dr. Pepper and Pepsi. To this day, I'll tell Brooke.
She calls that an experience. Having Coke at one grandparent's house or Dr. Pepper or Pepsi at the other one? Really? Can you not see how empty your head is?
Brooke, when I drink even Diet Dr. Pepper, I think of the beach because my grandmother on my dad's side is the one we would stay at the beach with all summer, and she would always have Dr. Pepper, so it makes me think of the beach. And then I went, to school here with the same kids, all through school. We had one of those neighborhoods that had one main road I couldn't go across, but we had, I would say 3 streets and maybe 3 blocks we could kind of stay in the vicinity, and a lot of construction. My parents built the house that they still live in and the house I grew up in when I was 6 years old. And so it was a new neighborhood at the time, and so it was always so much fun to go get little scraps of wood, and then we would go to an empty lot and make tree houses, camps, these big ditches, and we would spend all day catching minnows. And I even caught one time, we would name them, "Here comes Big Mama." We would set up dams and catch them and everything. And I even caught one and it had babies one time. So I've had all kinds of really cool experiences like that. And then
I, me. What about your family? What have you passed on to them?
told you, I've always loved creating things and doing things. I've always been really busy. So my mom and I were talking about this the other day. I would pick up shells at the beach and then glue those little eyeballs on them and little pipe cleaners and make them magnets and sell them around the neighborhood. We would do that with, I don't know if you guys remember the hair barrettes that had the ribbon that crisscrosses and then it had the ties that went down. I would make those and sell them. We would make Christmas ornaments and sell them. I would wash people's cars. I would keep their cats. This continued all the way up until high school because my parents didn't want me to get a job because I was in school and all of that kind of stuff, and they would only let me go out all the way up to a senior. I could go out one night on the weekend, and the other night I would babysit. So I've always just had that in me. And
had what in you? The grifter.
I've talked to them about this before, but I don't think I've gotten any money from them ever since, can't even remember, 18 or 19. And
oh, what happened when your first marriage broke down and you went home and they didn't charge you anything for living there?
And they did get me cars and they carried my insurance. But when I moved out at 19, I had my own car that my parents got me. They didn't pay for it all, but they got me a good deal so that my car payment was, manageable. And I paid everything from then on. And I waitressed and bartended and cocktail waitressed all the way up until right before I met John. I always was curious about a real job, a job that you go to and you dress up for. And I worked at a car dealership and I didn't like it. I didn't like knowing that this was my paycheck no matter how hard I wanted to work, what I wanted to do. I knew right then that wasn't for me, that I like the
a proper 9 to 5 Monday to Friday actual job wasn't for you, or wasn't for you. How did she say wasn't? It's harder to say wasn't than wasn't. Yeah, you suddenly realise working wasn't for you, was it?
Potential to make more money. I want to work more, work harder, pick up a shift. I loved when you waitress, just having that money at the end of the night. That is a little bit, what else did she ask me about the school? And I always had boyfriends. I always had friends, but all the way through high school, I always had a boyfriend. And I had the same one through the majority of high school. And then I started dating my first husband when I was 19. But I had boyfriends all the way from junior high on up, steady boyfriends, and then dated some people and everything. And I had some really good friends. I was never a cheerleader or anything like that. In junior high, I was on the student council. And in high school, I was in the newspaper class. I was on homecoming. I was active in school, but I wasn't
Didn't you do German?
that girl. Yeah, I did. I was in German classes because my heritage is from Germany. My dad's parents, they are the first generation German immigrants. I was into German, so I took that all through high school. I was in the German club, and I took it the first year of college, which I went to UNCW for a couple of years and then just decided it wasn't for me. But I remember...
Yeah, no, really. Putting work in at something and getting a qualification at the end of it wasn't for you. Wow, I'm blown away. Who'd have thought that going to college full-time or actually getting a proper job wasn't for Lisa?
How different that was, because my German teacher in high school was literally from Germany. And it was so much fun because she would tell us stories, and it was just really fun.
That's the difference between school and college, you nitwit. They're not going to pander to you in college and tell you funny little stories. You're there to learn.
And then she made it fun to learn and so interesting. But then when I got to UNCW, the guy had just been there, I think, in the military. And so he pronounced a lot of words different. And it's probably just like the difference in the way I would pronounce something and someone from New York. But it was, I don't know, I didn't like it as much. It made it harder, to learn that way. So yeah, that's it. And then when I got out of college, I couldn't figure out how I was going to finish college and have a career and be a mom, a wife, and a stay-at-home mom all at the same time. And I knew what I wanted the most. And what I wanted the
most was to stay at home and do nothing. That's what I wanted. And that's exactly what you got, isn't it, Janice? Does she not look like Janice from the Muppets there?
The most was to be a mom and a wife. In my mind, stay-at-home mom was like the only option for me. That's all I wanted. And I noticed that when I started YouTube, that where I live and the girls that I was around, to be able to be a stay-at-home mom was like a privilege and like a really good thing. And it wasn't anything that I was ashamed of. I felt lucky, and it was kind of like, I hate to say an upper class thing, but it was something that meant your husband made enough money that you didn't have to work and you got to stay home with your kids. Then when I started YouTube, people kind of put a negative spin on it. And then the more I went to like work functions with John and met women from all around the world in the country, and they would ask you, so what do you do? I'm a stay-at-home mom. We have a little girl that's this age. And I could just tell by the way they looked at me, that wasn't as important to them. But it always has been to me, and I've loved it. So that's just a little bit of my upbringing. I can remember my granddaddy, recording us on like cassette recorders, talking to us and recording conversations to send to my great-grandmother. Like, family has always been a very, very deep thing, like family reunions all through my life. Nobody's important as your family, that kind of thing. So
why don't you do the same with yours then? Not Mama and Daddy, John, Will and Brooke. They're your family. How about you give them the upbringing and the feeling of importance that you had growing up? No, what do? Run to Mama's on a Sunday on your own with nobody else? Who does that when they're married with family? Every Sunday go to their parents for dinner. And another thing, she's 73, your mum, and she's still cooking you Sunday lunch. You should be ashamed of yourself.
That is why you get that from me a lot. The thought of fighting with my parents, things like that, just don't even, or fighting with my brother or anything, which I do have a brother. He's 3.5 years younger. So yeah, it's not like it was Leave It to Beaver, or, it's not like when I came over every time my grandparents threw a party, but just being around people that genuinely love you is a good thing.
Ema Shape. I don't know, 8818. I would like to see your carnivore meals for 7 days.
You want to see her carnivore meals for 7 days, do you really? No, you don't, because it's the same thing day in, day fucking out.
The meals including breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Thank you.
Okay, I know for sure I'm going to be doing a lot more carnivore videos. I'm so thankful for those of you that have just stumbled across me for carnivore and you ended up staying and watching all the rest of my videos. Thank you. I will do whatever you want me to do, but I will tell you, I don't switch it up. Every night I eat 2 steaks. Now, something radical I did last night, instead of eating 2 ribeyes, I ate 2 fillets. And, I do that every once in a while. I might switch up what steak I want. I generally don't eat breakfast. This morning, I woke up at 4 something. I got up at 5 and I was a little bit hungry. And I knew I was going to do this video and I might be a little bit later eating lunch. So I had some pepperoni and American cheese in there, and I ate 1 slice of cheese, broke it up and ate it on pepperoni. That's something, a snack for me. And then today I'll go either to McDonald's or Wendy's and get a double cheeseburger with no bun or nothing on it and a Diet Coke. And then I won't eat again until dinner. And it really doesn't change. Now, I've done videos on traveling where I kind of just have to throw all the plans out the window. I generally...
Bacon and eggs. You have that every time you travel. How is that throwing things out the window? It's still fucking carnivore. God, we're only 10 minutes in. Anyone else bored shitless yet?
Really just look for what I can eat. I don't know. Can you think of anything else, Brooke, that I eat? Like if I have to, I'm not ever gonna try to dominate where people eat. So I'll just usually find...
Oh, I won't try and dominate where people eat. You lying toad.
Something wherever we go. If you take me to a Mexican restaurant, I'm gonna eat the fajita toppings with cheese. If you take me to an Italian restaurant, I'm gonna eat the top of a pizza. If you take me to a Chinese restaurant, I'm probably just going to get the chicken. I just adapt like that. Now, is there maybe a sauce on there that is not good for me? Maybe. So that's why I'm not going to do it as an everyday thing. I feel like it's kind of like excuses if you do that. And I would rather do the best I can. That's what I do. I just don't mix it up a lot. On Sundays, John likes to cook breakfast. So we do have eggs with cheese. We don't always have bacon because sometimes bacon just doesn't make me feel good. And I don't eat lunch that day because every Sunday I go to my parents' house and my mom cooks me 2 thin ribeyes on the grill.
Every Sunday I go to my parents and my mother cooks for me. Every Sunday I go to my parents on my own. And my 73-year-old mother cooks for me. You self-centered, selfish bitch. Can people not see this, for fuck's sake? How blind are you all? Oh, why are you picking on her? Because of this! Your mother is 73. Go round there every Sunday and cook for her. Or invite her round to yours and cook for her. No, couldn't fucking possibly do that, could you?
And I take them dinner from wherever they want. I go get it and take it over there. So I think I'm pretty boring when it comes to that.
When you're desperate, you have pork rinds.
Oh, yeah, okay. That doesn't happen very often, but I have to be very desperate.
That doesn't happen very often. Yeah, go on. Put her down. Make out she's wrong. She knows. She sees you.
Like say, okay, this happens in the summer sometimes. I go to the pool instead of going to lunch. And I say to myself, I'm just going to wait until dinner. Because sometimes I can do that, especially if John will fix dinner for me like 4. He's the one that does the grill. And if I'm
If John will fix dinner for me at 4. How about you learn to fucking cook? Huh? How about you learn how to use the fucking grill, seeing as though it's you that has to have your meals grilled? Huh? How about that? How about you do something for a change?
starving, I might eat some pork rinds. But you have to be careful. They can't be just any pork rinds. They have to be the one. Look at the ingredients and make sure it's just pork rinds. I think it'll be maybe an oil that they fried them in and salt. One time I got a bag and I was on the way home. This was when I first started carnivore. And I opened them in the car because I always did love doing that, opening chips or cookies in the car. Remember when we used to do that and tear them up the whole way home? So I opened up those pork rinds and I was just like, oh my gosh, these are so good. Then when I got home, they had maltodextrin in there and a bunch of stuff that ended up upsetting my stomach. The only sweetener that really doesn't upset my stomach is aspartame. If I drink sucralose, it upsets my stomach, and the maltodextrin, even in gum, you know, it upsets my stomach. So I don't chew gum either. I don't eat candy. I eat nothing but meat, cheese.
You don't drink either.
Yeah, I don't drink alcohol. I don't drink coffee, all of that stuff. And I did do the other day kind of a deep dive into the Diet Coke, which I want to get my thoughts together and do a whole video, because I kept thinking, why is Diet Coke like the only one that people seem to hate on that much? And it's because it's the best selling. It's the number one, definitely the number one diet cola. It's very equal to any of them. And just a little something is the only thing they're saying that is bad for you in the diet drinks is the aspartame, which is also in Crystal Light, chewing gum, all kinds of things. So it's just kind of like, I think, one of those things, but we'll get into that later because I've looked up a bunch of studies and stuff about it too.
Yeah.
Have you? Really? Have you used your brain to study something? Apparently it causes cancer. Have you missed that? At this stage of life, what would you attribute your confidence to? Yeah. Why? Where's the real questions? I want to see the real questions, not the filtered ones.
Yeah. That's their username.
Okay.
Like so many, I've watched you since the beginning. Question: at this stage of your life, what would you attribute your confidence to? You've always been such a bright light, but you shine even brighter now.
Aw. Okay. I really...
See, she's ready to answer the question because she's already read it. And she's not even letting Brooke finish. Because she's like, because sometimes when people ask you a question, normally you have to think of an answer, don't you? Unless it's what's 10 times 10 and it's off the top of your head, unless you're lardy, and then you have to count it. But she hasn't got that many fingers and toes. But you can see with her, she's raring to go because she already knows what the question is because she chose them.
Really do work on myself all the time, don't I, Brooke?
You're always listening to a podcast or something.
Yeah, I love it. I always have. You guys, I don't know what it is about me, but I can remember as a child, we would be at the ballpark a lot, and I would get to know other kids' moms a lot, or they would be moms of kids at my school, you know, just how it is when you do stuff like that. I remember rehearsing polite things to say. And rehearsing, like if they said, hey Lisa, how are you? And I would say, fine, how about you? You know what I mean? Like just rehearsing things to say to be, I guess, mature and polite. And
I remember rehearsing things to say. Really? I worked in my uncle's club since the age of 13. I worked in the local spa shop from 11. And on my way home from the spa shop one day, the man in the chip shop said, would I run the chip shop for him? Because he was doing a degree and he was drowning in his thesis and he didn't have time to do it. And he said he'd get up in the morning and cut all the chips and prep everything, and then all I'd have to do is cook it and serve it. And would I do that? And I said yeah. At 11 or 12 I was running a chip shop and serving people. I was not sat on my bed rehearsing things to say to strangers so I'd sound polite. See, this is the thing with Lisa. She thinks what she's done is amazing and that nobody else will have done that. And nobody's as bright or as intelligent as she is. I was babysitting at 9. I babysat a newborn baby at 9. I wouldn't give you my cat to look after now. Dimwit. Fucking dimwit.
And I just always would push myself past that point even in, like I said, junior high, which when I was in school was 7th, 8th, and 9th, I, did homecoming queen. I did the student council, which means I had to stand up and give a speech in front of the whole school. And I would just want something bad enough to get over my fears. And I've had to do that a lot on YouTube, but I just know that there's nothing I want that doesn't come without that. And I've also really, really, really been able to embrace being alone, because unless you're alone, your own real thoughts and your own real intuition and your real voice doesn't come out, because all your...
Oh dear Lord. You've lived in a bubble in the back end of nowhere for your entire life, and you think you're it. You think you know everything. You're above everyone. Wow. Just wow.
You're hearing is other people's voices of what they think, what video they think will be best, or what job they think you should do, or the clothes that they think you should wear. And I've really learned that being by yourself is one of the best things. And can you say anything?
Not everybody has that fucking, what's the word, luxury of being by themselves, or being able to, I want to do this. I don't want a full-time job. I don't want to go to college. I just want to be a stay-at-home mum. If you hadn't found John, then what? Then what would you have done?
Anything else, Brooke? My confidence, carnivore.
I think definitely. That's why she said you shine even brighter.
Yeah, I think
you don't feel like
carnivore, figuring out my health, getting through menopause, which I am going to do some videos on that, changed my life. It's almost like a point in time. So I really want to do some videos about that, because like I always say, this is our time. This is our time. We've raised our kids.
This is our time. This is our time. It's not everybody's fucking time. It's yours, love. Because you've made damn sure that that's how it is. I birthed the kids. They're old enough now. No fucker's going to tell me what I can and can't do, because I'm going to do whatever the fuck I like I have done for my entire life.
Kids, we have been the wife, we've been the teenager, we've been the dating person.
We've been the wife.
Now we get to be who we really want to be. And I was telling a friend this the other day. Now I have more like time in a day to do all of these things. But when I think about my life, I don't have as much time in my life. So I pack every day full of meaningful things. They can be spending time with my children. They can be going to the pool that I enjoy, making a video like I do now before I go to the pool. I make sure I pack every day. There will never be a day that I lay on the couch all day. Netflix and chill just doesn't.
You're a Virgo.
I'm a Virgo.
Oh, it's got nothing to do with being a Virgo, Brooke. Absolutely fuck all has it got to do with being a Virgo. And I love the way that she's looking down her nose at people. Some people, fuckwit, can't get up off the couch. Some people are chronically sick and they can't do what you're doing. But that's okay. You look down your big fucking long nose at them.
I just love it. I love it. I love being here with you guys. And from the very first video I ever did, I loved it. I just always have. So there's been ups and downs, and I've done and said things that I'm not particularly proud of because I didn't know better, but now that I know better, I try to do better. So I hope that helps a little bit. But like I said, this is also much fun because I get to think about what videos I'm going to make, because I have so many little tricks and little tips and little sayings and little things that I've done. I want to be able to take a full video and give you those
You've
tips.
been saying that since the dawn of time. I have so much to give. I'm going to make a video on it. And then you never do, because really you realise, maybe, hopefully, that you're not as fucking clever as you think you are.
Tips.
Crelessa1 asks, I would love if you would talk about self-respect as a woman.
Oh, Crelessa1, you've got to be a troll. I would love if you talk about self-respect as a woman. She has none. Look at that face. Oh, look at her face. Nah, they're not blowing smoke up your hole, are they? She hasn't got any.
I think it is a huge problem now with the dating scene being so different. Your talks about relationship, I remember your video about divorce helping me a lot to move on with my life. Now I have a baby and a lovely husband. Thank you.
Self-respect for women.
Who wasn't listening to the end of what that lady said? She said, your video helped me. Fuck knows how, but your video helped me. Now I've got a lovely child and a husband. Thank you. Did you say you're welcome? No, because you're concentrating on the beginning of it because you already knew the fucking question. Oh, I can't with this woman. I just fucking can't. We've got a choice today, haven't we, ladies? Of course, no, I'm going to save them into a secret file so I can sit and stare at them all night when I'm bored.
Whew. That's a tough one. What are some of the things I tell you, Brooke?
The 3 things you can't help me with?
Well, I know 2 things I can't help you with. I always say there's
30.
There's 2 things. I said there's 2 things I cannot help you with. I cannot get you out of. I said a DWI. So tell her not to drink and drive, and getting pregnant. And of course, getting pregnant is the biggest blessing of all, but you can't go back from that. Do you know what I mean?
And that person.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't matter if it's who it is. That person and their family are in your lives forever, and your baby will be half of them.
Is that what she's talking about, like self-respect and?
No, she's talking about like dating and having respect for yourself, like.
I thought she meant like self-respect, like not giving it up.
No.
That's what I thought.
Oh, self-respect, like not giving it up. Yeah,
that's what I thought.
do think so.
Way.
I always go back to more of a nature way of thinking. And I always think of just a man and a woman and the natural roles and our natural instincts. And it is natural for a man to be I hate to say, not the aggressor, but the more protector and the one who makes the moves, and then the woman. I just really believe in more of that natural way of a man and a woman. And I think if you mess that up, because I have lived it, it causes resentment. Just done a lot of things like that in the past where I would compromise what I wanted and the life that I wanted to live for someone else. The key to happiness above money.
She didn't ask about the key to happiness. She was asking about self-respect. Where did that bit go? Fucking
woman. And above where you live is who you choose to spend your life with. 2 people can be happy in a teeny tiny small house with hardly any money, but 2 people can be very, very unhappy in a huge house with lots of money. I mean, you just have to find someone you can share your life with and, have an enjoyable, happy life that is not full of...
You're not answering the question.
Controversies. So I would say even more important than school is finding and being very, very particular about that person you spend your life with. I think about that all the time, but I know when you're that young, it's hard to even feel the seriousness of it or how important that is. You kind of feel like things are going to work out. I know with my first husband, I felt like, well, he's going to grow into wanting that. That's going to be the natural progression of our relationship, whereas it wasn't. I should have been much more clear on who he is right now, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with who people are, but if they're not in alignment with what you want, it's just not going to work out. It doesn't mean anybody has to be right or wrong. We could go further and further into this, but okay, next question.
We could go further and further into this. That's not what she asked.
She's painting her nails.
Suzanne Marie 3427, how do you store your jewelry? I would love some ideas on how to keep it organized and at the same time easy to see and reach for.
Okay, how do I store my jewelry? It's everywhere. is everywhere. Here's a little bowl of some stuff right here. I mean, I've got my go-to jewelry on my dresser in a couple of dishes. I've got, you know, things that I just want to keep. I got those black trays, the black stacking trays from Amazon. Those really helped because I would just put everything out, stack them up, and I put them up. And that way I can take them down and kind of look at the, you know, the jewelry, but I don't really have a wonderful way. I do know that I used to keep a lot more out and like hanging everywhere and everything, and that gets dusty. I don't like trinkets everywhere, so I try to keep everything rounded up in little dishes.
I don't like trinkets everywhere. What's this pile of shite? Just thrown in a dish. You really care for the stuff you get given for free, don't you?
Dishes that I like to look at, or some on my dresser is like on a book, and then I go from there. So I do try to keep it put up, and I do try to give a lot away, don't I, Brooke? Once, you know, I'm done with it, I don't keep every single thing.
Summer Bumpkin 8729. Is there any place you want to travel to where you haven't been yet?
Yeah, there is. I would say there's more places in the United States that I want to go than there is out of the country. I mean, of course I'd like to see Paris one day just because. I would really like to see Milan because
You wouldn't last 2 fucking minutes in Paris or Milan. They'd eat you for fucking breakfast.
I watch that channel a lot. It's funny. I'll have one self-development or entrepreneur or some kind of video or podcast playing, and then I'll put on the Milan on Trend, I think it is, where you see the people just walking in the streets. I'll silence that one and then listen to this while I watch the people go by, and it gives me the best like outfit inspiration, and I just love seeing the people so dressed up. I mean, I would love to go to those 2 places. There's not weird places, but like I'd like to see Boston one day. I'd like to go.
Why is Boston weird? Oh dear, Laurie, did she dish your hometown?
To Chicago. I'd like to see maybe.
Ooh, where's Yellowstone?
Montana, yeah.
Just 'cause it's so pretty.
Yeah, Montana is really pretty, but that's never been really on my radar.
I know, you watched Yellowstone, though. That's a long ago.
Yeah.
Really
I liked Santa Fe, but I want to go to like Arizona and see those real cartoon looking cactuses. Okay.
Oh, you could meet up with Laurie Beth. That'd be the best. You could do a video for YouTube. I'd love to see that.
You know, I've been to Florida, I've been to California. Of course, I'd like to see, I'm watching that Palm Royale right now. I'd love to go to Palm Beach. I was telling Brooke the other day, I want to go to the Beverly Hills Hotel. Like, there's like little specific things that I see on TV that I'd like to just see and experience. But I love going to New York. Don't want to.
I've always wanted to go to the Beverly Wilshire Hotel. Just so I could do that. What did she say? Well, something me sideways. There's a sofa in here for 2 or whatever. I'd love to do that. Or the hotel that Thing was made in. Barefoot in the Park. Bye, Mr. Dooley. Next time you're in New York, just look me up. I'd love to do stuff like that. It'd be dead funny. But I've always wanted to see Hawaii. I've said that to a lady on here. It must be beautiful. I used to watch Christine's videos when she was in Hawaii. She's in Arizona now. Loads of America I'd love to go and see. But it's not going to happen. So Jed does that as well. He watches people doing walking tours of places that we're never going to get to go to. So we can watch them on YouTube. Thank God for YouTube.
Stay there, don't want to live there, but I love going. And I can't think of
New Orleans.
New Orleans? Yeah.
I've always wanted to go to New Orleans. Always. That's been at the top of my bucket list. I just forgot then. For Jazz Week or whatever it is. Mardi Gras, that's it. Not even for that, just even when it's quiet, just to actually take the place in and see it all.
It hasn't ever been on my radar, but I'll take you.
No, you won't.
So yeah, I love.
You've never taken her fucking anywhere, have you?
To travel though. I love it. I love just everything about it. I love people watching. I love interacting with new people. Every little thing. Like I can just be happy sitting in the lobby of the hotel, just sitting there. I love it.
Observing women with their long bags.
9462. Yes, love the idea of you. She said, we love your diet and body maintenance tips. But I mean, your body maintenance tips is just carnivore, right?
Yeah, body and maintenance tips would be carnivore, and I do weights every night. I do planks every night, and I'm starting up my walking, and I really want to add in like some lunges or squats or something. That's on my mind too. I need to watch some exercise videos because the way I work the best is routine. I have to have like a set routine, and it's almost like I'll have these steps that I have to do before I can even go to bed. So that is what I do. And you know, the carnivore just keeps you pretty lean. So I've been enjoying that.
DJR6876. Possible future topic, facelift. Not that you need one, Lisa. Just I know you have previously mentioned possibly getting one someday, and I was wondering what research you have done on different types of lifts and what you yourself were considering. Also, if you did decide to have one, taking us on a chronicled journey.
Oh yeah, anything I ever get done, I will tell you guys. I don't know if...
Yeah. Anything I'll ever get done, I'll tell you guys. No, you won't. You'll only tell us afterwards when it's obvious that you've had something done and that you have to say something. And if you're going to say about your nose rant, we all know.
If I've ever gotten anything done that I didn't tell you, because this is the beauty of my life. If you guys followed me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you would not see me doing anything that I'm ashamed of. It might not be something you agree with, but it's not something that I'm ashamed of doing. And so if anything I do, I will tell you. And I haven't really researched it. I think I told you I went and had them look at my neck, and he told me I was nowhere near ready. And I have heard just that Dr. Karam, I think, every once in a while I'll catch one of his videos and I just happen to like him. And I remember him saying that to get a lower facelift or this or that wasn't good, that it was best to wait until you got your entire facelift. And he was even talking about blepharoplasty and everything, which I've already done that and I don't regret it at all. I'm not sure. I'm not at that point yet, I don't think. I don't want to look just so done. I don't mind having some wrinkles. I don't mind that my jawline is not tight. I just want to look good. I'm not trying to look young. Like when I tell someone my age,
Liar, liar, pants on fire.
and they're like, oh, you don't, I'm like, don't even say that. I'm not telling you because I want you to tell me I look young. I don't care. I don't care how old I am. That is not a thing to me. It's just, I want to look good. So that's part of that.
Charlotte Bragdon, 9475. I'd like to know your daily routine, or is it different daily?
My daily routine.
It stays the same.
It's the same.
It's crazy.
I cannot have another routine or I will combust. It is waking up and weighing myself. I take all my pajamas off. I've got...
That is ridiculous, Lisa. And do you know what message you're giving your daughter saying that in front of her?
The app that goes with my scale, the Abion app, and you'll see this morning I weighed 122.6, and I weigh myself every single morning, take my hair down out of
obsessed.
The little spirally thing, and then I go put my socks back on, put my jacket on, and I let the cats in because they've been in the garage, come up here, feed them, and then start my daily routine. We are going to get into this a little bit more because I have talked to you guys about journaling. I have gone through kind of a full circle of the journaling, and I want to address that because I changed my mind about some of the things that I've told you. But what I do is I have a planner and I journal on my planner. I write down how much I weigh. Of course, I have like a hair appointment this Friday, and I will get into it. But this is my journal. Now, I do have a notebook over there that when I'm watching my videos, it doesn't matter if it's a fashion video, if it's a self-help video, if it's a book that I'm interested in, the author talking about or whatever, I write down notes. I will write down just words that I like. I'll write down just anything because I
write down words that I like. Really? Is that where dimension came from? Are you waiting to hear another one that you like? I'm going to call this because I can't sit through an hour long of this fucking bullshit. So I'm going to do a part 1 and a part 2. I need a break. So if you got this far with me, thank you very much. And I will see you in part 2, hopefully.